Hello, this is Pat Walker, Mission Winners, doing a video overview of the ETFs. Now, why do we do this? It's not that we like to look at a bunch of charts. It's that we like to look for opportunities, areas to maybe concentrate on and put money in. Also, flip that coin, areas to avoid so we don't have any problems. Leading groups, leading stocks, clean and simple basis. Genomic revolution, weekly on the left, daily on the right. What does that tell you? It's lagging, not a lot to do with it. Stay away from that group. You can punch up ARKG and see what the leading stocks are in that group. And it's pretty much telling you, stay away from them. There we go. Let's go to the next one. Right here, cloud computing, picking up a little bit, okay? Here's the weekly, you forming a cup and a handle, bouncing off the 50-day, not a lot of volume here. Cloud computing, be a little careful with it. Let's continue onwards. Here we go. Commodities. Commodities picked up a little bit on Friday. You can see this on the daily chart. Volume was just okay, all right? Nothing really spectacular. A lot of overhead here on the daily, a lot of overhead on the weekly. Tells us to be careful with it, and that's the extent of it. Diamonds lifted off here on Thursday and Friday. Volume was just okay, but it does say that, hey, the Dow's picking up a little bit. Note this, the Dow is only 30 stocks, so and it's price weighted. It does show some strength in the Dow. Okay, that's great. Don't jump up and down about it. Autonomous vehicles, all right. Electric vehicles, picking up a little bit. You know what's a big chunk of this? You see this big run right here? And you'll see this on the MAXLIST video. Tesla did all this right there. Major chunk of it. It's forming a cup and a handle here on the weekly. Maybe it'll take that out, okay? It is improving a little bit. Nothing to do with it now, but it's something to watch going forward. There we go. Let's go on to the next one. And what do we have here? Dow Jones Internet picking up a little bit, bouncing off the 50-day on the daily. A lot of overhead on the weekly. But note this, on the weekly, you can see kind of a cup and a handle formation. A lot of overhead supply though. This also tells you, this market, look at this. This has been a tough group for a long time. What does that tell us? That's why we've stayed away from it. Picking up a little bit here on the 50-day, on the daily, needs some more work. This is not a high probability setup. Go to the next one. IBD 50 starting to pick up a little bit. That's good to see. You can also see it on the weekly across these tops right there. You see that line? Take out these tops. We have a price alert set. Now you can say, well, what does this tell us? The IBD 50 is a good proxy for growth stocks, quality growth stocks. It's starting to improve a little bit. Not a lot, just a little bit. You can say, why not a lot, Pat? Look at the weekly. Look at all this. That's ugly, okay? But it's starting to maybe turn. Maybe this is the turn. We'll watch and see, and we'll be ready with no bias. Continue on to the next one. First Trust Dorsey Wright, technology related, picking up a little bit. You can see the base here on the weekly, and you can see it lifting up on the daily. But what's missing? There's not a lot of volume power. So just kind of be a little cautious with that. Again, it's good to know what to look for and things to avoid. China, this is just, it's lagging. It's lagging. It's starting to improve a little bit, but there's not a real clean setup. It's just telling us China's picking up a little bit, and that's nice to see. Gold miners picking up, but tons of overhead here, folks. There's nothing to do with it. It is improving, but this is not a high probability setup for the ETF or for that industry group. Gold picking up a little bit. Okay, here's the weekly. Tons of overhead here. Picking up a little bit on the daily. Volume's just okay. Below the 50-day. Let's see if this thing can show some more power. Nothing to do with it. So what do we do with that information? It says be careful with gold. Isn't that good to know? Biotech's picking up, but look at all this overhead here on the daily. Look at all of it on the weekly. There's nothing to do with it. Stay away from biotech. That's power to know. Oil and gas picking up a little bit, but not a lot of power here. Ton of overhead on the daily, overhead on the weekly. It tells us one thing, be careful with energy. And that's good to know. Software technology picking up a little bit on picking up in volume and above a rising 50-day. Decent cup and a handle here on the weekly. What does that say? Oh, technology and software is improving. Technology, that's good. We like that. Maybe look at some software technology stocks. That's good to know. All right. Compare and contrast to this. Medicine's picking up, and it's pretty dang choppy here, team. And note the lift on no volume. Stay away from it. Medicine, not a great group at this point in time. Mid cap picking up a little bit here. All right. As you can see, no real volume, but it is improving. It's saying the market's getting a little bit better. That's nice to know. Aerospace defense, that's a nice pattern up here, team. Look at that. That's hitting highs for the move. Volume's just okay. What do we do with this? You can find out what are a couple leading stocks in this ITI group. Google ITA, and you'll find out the top 10 stocks. Maybe there's an opportunity in there. Maybe it's a Boeing type of stock. That's connecting the dots, but it doesn't look bad. Continue onwards. Lagging, home construction. It's picking up, but there's no volume. Not a lot of power here. I'd be cautious with home construction. Continue onwards. S&P growth, picking up a little bit, bouncing off the 50-day, pushing through two key moving averages. It's saying, oh, that's good. There's some improvement in the growth sector. That's good to know, right? Continue onwards. Small caps picking up here. Look at this, and look at the volume pickup. What does this say to us? Well, we know that the mid caps are doing okay, and we'll see that in a minute. We know that the bigger, the QLDs of the world, and we'll see it in a minute, this is picking up, but this is telling us the small caps are picking up too. What does that mean to us? Maybe the market's spreading out, the rally's spreading out a little bit. It's going to get better. That's power to know. Not forecasting, just looking at what is. By the way, there's a bigger picture cup and a handle here on the daily, and maybe it'll take that out. I'm not saying it will, but it's something to plan for. I do like that it picked up here on a pickup in volume on Friday. That's good. Real estate, it's picking up, but it's still below the 50-day. There's not a lot of power here. Be careful with real estate. That's power for us to know. Transportation's picking up a little bit. No clean entry with it, but it is telling us something. It's starting to improve too. Transport's starting to improve. We like that, okay? Airlines, picking up some here. What's the common theme you're seeing here over and over? The rally seems to be spreading out to other sectors. We like that. Flip the coin. Regional banking, what does this tell us? Stay away from regional banking. Do you realize the power in that statement? Knowing that, there's a group we can stay away from. We should stay away from. It improves our focus on stronger groups, and I like that. Biotechnology's lagging. No real power here. Stay away from biotech. That's simple. Move on. Mid cap picking up a little bit, just like IWM, small caps and mid caps. What does that tell us? The rally's spreading out a little bit. That's power to know. Oil services picking up a little bit. Some tops right here. This is very loose. By the way, this closed near the lows on a pickup in volume, but it does tell us energy services is picking up a little. It's improving. What does that mean? The rally's spreading out to various sectors. Pharmaceuticals lagging. What does this say? Stay away from the drugs. In fact, stay away from the drugs and stay away from drugs in general. How about that? There you go. Nothing to do with it. That's a dad humor talking. Software's picking up, but that's, not a lot of juice here, folks. Be careful with software. Okay, at least that's software index. QLD's picking up a little bit. Notice how this bounced off the 50-day right here on a pickup in volume. See this lift? We're buying some there and at it. There it is. It's simple. It's outperforming. It's bouncing off the 50-day. Remember this right here, okay? Some improvement, but it tells us something else. What is this? This is the NASDAQ 100 growth stocks. Maybe the rally's spreading out, improving. That's nice to know. QQQ, it's picking up a little bit too. The first one's leveraged, this one's not leveraged. The NASDAQ 100, big growth stocks, starting to improve. That's nice to know, something to consider. Retail, what does this say? Stay away from retail. That's it. You don't have to overthink it. There's nothing there, move on. You can say, what, rally? There's no volume, there's no conviction. Stay away from retail. Silver, lagging, stay away from silver. It's that simple. Steel, picking up, and it has been strong. Look at this, up on a pickup in volume, up on a pickup in volume, up on a pick. It's strengthening, and it has been strengthening. You could have been looking at this a couple of days ago and said, maybe I should look at some steel stocks. And yeah, we own one, Steel Dynamics, okay? The group's improving. There we go. So what's the moral there? Look at some steel stocks. Semiconductors picking up a little bit. Okay, not a lot of power here, but it looks like that technology sector is improving a little bit. That's good to know. The rally's spreading out. Spider's picking up here a little bit. bouncing off the 50-day on a slight pickup in volume. The S&P 500. What's the moral here? What's the theme? The rally's spreading out. It's improving a little bit, okay? I'm not saying go crazy leverage here. I'm just saying there's pockets of strength to exploit and make some money. SSO's picking up. Not a lot of volume there on Friday, though. But it is improving, the S&P 500. Solar, picking up a little bit, but pretty dang choppy. Some improvement, though. Solar. Have you noticed there's a common theme? What is it? And I'm very calculated in what I say. It looks like the rally is spreading out. It's improving. I'm not forecasting. I'm looking at it. What is? That's all. So build off that. Continue onwards. This is Treasuries, lifting up here a little bit. There's a tug of war here. The markets do not like rising interest rates. All right? Just be aware of that, okay? Continue onward. Small cap, leverage, TNA, picking up a little bit. That's good. We saw IWM too. You see this lifting off the 50-day. Another example of, well, let me see, the QQQs and the SSOs are working out, or the spiders or whatever. Let me think here. Oh, IWM's picking up. MDY's picking up. TNA, leverage, it's picking up a little too. Saying maybe things are improving. And that's good to know. Natural gas, yeah, it's picking up, but look at this. Tons of overhead. What does that tell you? Stay away from natural gas. It's good to know what to look at, and it's also good to know what to stay away from. Uranium, it's pretty sloppy. There's not much going on there. Oil's picking up again. Look at that. Good volume pickup. It's loose. Okay, there's no setup here, but what is it telling us? Energy's picking up again. Maybe look at some energy stocks. There we go. Consumer discretionary picking up, but no real volume here. Okay, not a lot. So some power, but it is lifting off the 50-day, but not a lot of decisive power at this point in time. Aerospace and defense. Here's another ETF related to defense. Look at what it's doing. It's picking up too. There's two instances of saying, I guess we should look at some defense stocks. There you go. You can punch up XAR and find out what it is. Biotechnology, another one that's lagging. What does it say? Stay away from biotech. That's good to know. Home builders starting to improve a little bit. That's good to see. Materials. How do you build things? How do you build houses? You need materials. It's picking up a little bit too. I'm not saying buy it, but you can see the themes connecting the dots, and that helps us. Communications picking up a little bit, shows the rally spreading out a little bit. XLE, it's up, but it's still lagging here, pretty choppy. Energy just, it's so-so. There's better places to go. Financials picked up, but no volume. Pretty loose here. But we do like to see financials improving. That's a plus. Industrials, look at this. Look at that, almost hitting the highs here. Industrial stocks, you could punch up XLI and see what do they own? What are their top 10 holdings? Look at the weekly. You got yourself a big cup and a handle formation here. But what else does it tell us? Again, the theme, the rally is improving. It's spread out to various groups, and that's nice to see. Technology picked up a little bit. That's nice to see too, because we love technology, all right? The key point I'm making here is you can see in the ETFs, the rally is strengthening. It's spreading out to various sectors. Not all of them, but various ones. We can key on those sectors to make better investing decisions. And it also tells us areas to stay away from, like consumer staples. There's no real power here. Stay away from consumer staples. Healthcare, there's no real power here. Stay away from the healthcare sector. Consumer discretionary is picking up a little bit, but not a lot of power there. Be careful with that. We're about done here. Metals and mining. Look at this. This has been strong, and it's still strong. What does that say? What has it been saying? Hey, you might want to take a look at, oh, that picked up. Oh, that's all right. Oh, that's a pickup in volume. That's pretty good. Oh, yeah, that's not so bad. Yeah, it's picking up. It's telling you, hey, and it has been saying, look at some metals and mining stocks. There you go. Oil, another oil and gas ETF, picking up a little bit. Look at energy. You can see the theme. Retail, not much power here. What does that say? Be careful with retail. There we go. Software picking up a little bit. We also already saw a couple of other software ETFs, but it is improving. So rally spreading out and back to the top. The MAXLIST, the big stocks, the big tech names. Here's Apple. Apple came down, put a reversal bar day right here on less volume on Thursday, gapped up and closed near the highs on a pickup in volume. This is a MAXLIST stock. It's improving. I'm not saying buy it, but I am saying improving. And I will also tell you this. If this market's real, if this market advance rally is real, these MAXLIST stocks, some of them will participate. Why? Because they are a major chunk of the market. I am not saying it's going to happen. I am just saying if this market advances, some of these stocks will move because a big chunk of them are the market. There you go. So there's Apple picking up a little bit. That's a plus for the rally. Amazon picked up a little bit, pushing through the 50-day. Volume was a little bit less, okay? It would have been nice to see volume really picking up, but, you know, it's just sloppy. This was great for us back here, and this was a great run up in here, and sells into strength really helped us. Last sale came on this bar right here, the last small shares, and now it's just running through here, starting to lift up off the 50-day. What would we like to see? Lift through here, take out these highs here, and do it on really heavy volume. That could be a buy. Now here's a great tactic I want to share with you. We use at Mission Winners. I haven't looked at this yet, so this is the first time. Here's the 30-minute chart. And again, I hadn't looked at this, so I don't want you to think already knew. No, but I would have guessed. Look at the volume pickup into the close Friday. You see that? That's big money buying that on that 30-minute bar. That is a catalyst saying, or a knowledge point saying, they're buying this sucker. All right, something to take into consideration. I'm not saying buy it, but I am saying it is a plus when they do things like that. All right, so there's Amazon. MAXLIST stocks. I love MAXLIST stocks. Let's continue onwards. Alibaba, you can say, yeah, I don't really see anything with this. And you know what I say to you? Good analysis. There's nothing there, move on. That's simple. BIDU's picking up a little bit, a little gappy, a little choppier. Not a lot of volume here, okay? You can see this runs up and drops like a rock. It runs up and drops like a rock. It runs up and drops like a rock. It gaps up and reverses down on heavy volume. It's a little loose here, not a high probability setup, all right, compared to the others I showed you. Let's continue onwards. Google's picking up a little bit, pushing through the 50-day. Ton of overhead supply here. What does it need? Real power through here with real volume on the daily. And watch this. Just as I suspected, look at the volume that came into it on the 30-minute into the close on Friday. There we go. That's big money picking it up. So will it continue? I don't know the future. Nobody does. But it is starting to pick up a little bit. The negative is this, I'll say it again, it's got to really get some power through this 50-day and off of it. And if this market's going to rally, some of these MAXLIST stocks will rally. Goldman Sachs, this is a little too choppy here, okay? It's zipping around all over the place. I'd leave that alone. It also rallied up and on less volume. Not a lot of power, move on. Here we go. MasterCard picking up, but not a lot of power here. All right, you can see this. 50 days still overhead. Not really clean, I'd leave it alone. Meta. Meta was picked up in here, all right, lifting off, and you can see this lift right here, and it rallied up. This was on the key list. Clean tops here. I want to show you this just to help you. Train your eyes. Clean and simple flat base right there. There it is. Just going sideways. You can say, what caught my eye? The volume on that bar. Look at that. And then it fell down on less volume, reverses up on really low volume, and then an igniting day here on Friday. Look at this. And here's the 30-minute chart. Look at that volume spike at the open, folks. Here's the hourly. Look at that volume spike on the open. You can say, how did you know that? Because I was really locked on it on Friday, okay? That's why VIPs own it. There we go. So what do we have right now? Go back to the daily. You can see on the weekly it picked up. Look at the weekly and look at the volume pickup. And it's starting to pick up on the hour or on the daily. It's a little bit extended above the pivot price right here. You see that clean and simple tops right there? Lifted off on volume, but it's a start. We're in it. If it starts to take out the highs here, we could maybe buy some more. If you don't own it, I'd be very, very careful. How could you control risk if you decide to buy? If it takes out Friday's highs, you could buy some, but if it starts to bleed back into the bar, you could sell some off. There you go. That's a real world tactic with controlled risk. So there we are. So there's Meta. Let's move on. Microsoft bouncing off the 50-day right here. On a slight pickup in volume. That's good to see. Bouncing off the 50-day. Let's take it down to the 30-minute and see how's the volume on that. And look at that. Surprise, surprise. Big volume spike into the close. All right. Go back to the daily. Slight pickup. Perhaps it will follow through. The bar right here. Let's take it to the 10. Ooh, look at the volume that came into it. See, you take out the tops of this bar right here, these bars. That could be a potential buy. But go back to the daily. It needs to push through on really good volume and a good market. You don't have it. You don't have those constraints. Have the discipline not to do it. Netflix, I showed you some that are basing above the 50-day. This isn't. There's no power here. Leave it alone. Here's NVIDIA. See these bases right here and here? This was on the key list for buys here, key list for buys here. And there, you buy it here, 162, down lower. We'll say got an average cost of 160, just for the heck of it. Okay, 160 up to 230, 238. Do the math. Sells into strength health, and it's right here. And note the tops right here. Watch this. Look at the volume coming into this on the 30-minute. Here's the hourly. Less volume there. Take it to 10. Look at that volume into the close. Things that we look at. Nothing fancy. Price and volume. So what are we going to do with it? Take out these tops. Could be an add-on. It would be a very aggressive new buy. All right? I will just tell you that right now. You can say, well, how can I control risk then, Pat? Buy less shares. Good investing is not one size fits all. Please know that. We buy more on clean and simple flat bases. We buy less on bases that are not as reliable. If I only had one setup that I could do, it'd be clean and simple flat bases. Nothing else. Nothing else. It works. Our entry on Tesla's on the weekly is down here. Here it is on the daily. And the trend up. It's basing right here. There's all kinds of news on it. We're in good shape with it down lower. There's not a really clean spot right now, so just be aware of that. Continue onwards. Visa starting to pick up off the 50-day right here. Not a whole lot of volume, but it is a slight pickup, all right, just for what it's worth. Something to consider. And then we've got Square. Just chopping around here, lifting a bit, not a lot of volume, so that makes it tougher.
Thank you for watching the video. We hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please hit like. Maybe hit that subscribe button. We come up with new content nearly every day. Also, check out the videos on the right. YouTube recommends the one on the top, and the bottom one is something we thought you might enjoy. See you next time.